Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is a general, no, not a general, an all signs look at love. So we're going to look at three aspects. We're going to look at what you see, then we're going to look at what you don't see, and then we're going to look at what the universe sees. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to pick three major arcana. This is the ancient Italian tarot. And then I'm going to dig further into that with one from each suit of the minor arcana of the Rider-Waite. Okay, so that's how I do the readings. This here is the major arcana of the Rider-Waite, which I may or may not consult. I've also got some oracles. So everything's shuffled. Excuse me. So I'll give this one last go. So yeah, what you see, what you don't see, but you know, if it shows up in the second position, what you don't see, you kind of know it's there. It's like this sort of undercurrent, and that's very often the most interesting portion of the readings, is that second position. So let's have a look. So we're not being predictive here. We are simply having a little looky-see. Now, this deck that I'm shuffling now was jumping around all over the place earlier. It seems to have calmed down a bit now. So, famous last words. Right, I'm choosing that one. I'm having that. That's the Fool. Okay. I'll pull the other two cards now. World in reverse. Oh my gosh. So we've got the first card of the tarot, card 0. And then we've got the last card in the reverse. I mean, this is just I am. It's as pure and simple and kind of unmediated as that. There's no baggage here. There's no backstory that we can see in any case. It's complete freshness. However, actually, I'm wrong when I say there's no backstory. If you look at that M stitched to the back of his jerkin there, that is the M of Il Matto. And it's a kind of badge that, well, it's a badge that was sewn to the back of people who had been deemed to have transgressed in their community. And they had this thing sewn on them, and they were sent out to tramp all the lanes, whether temporarily or permanently, I don't know. I guess it varied from crime to crime. So there is a backstory. And, you know, here's another look at it, like the end of the world. There's a terrible burden being carried here. Anyway, we'll look further into this. And I'm really seeing this circle here of the world translated into this circle on the back of the jerkin. Let's look at the third card. Okay. We've got the Hanged Man. Right. Okay. I don't know what to say about that, really. I mean, one possible interpretation, but don't know if it's going to turn out to be the correct one, but an interpretation of the Hanged Man that I've been mulling a bit recently is sort of overthinking things, and a kind of surfeit of mental phenomena. I don't know, sort of causing a kind of blockage. What is it? There is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Isn't that the line from, I think, Hamlet, I think? Right, let's drill down into this a little bit. Let's start with the Fool here. Okay, King of Pentacles. Well, I would say this is a wealth of experience. It's a wealth of experience and it's a very contrasting energy because this is heavy. I mean, look at all this growth and kind of establishment and heaped up riches here. Such a contrast with this light touch of the Fool. It's going to be interesting to see why that is, but this is also part of the backstory, you see. There's establishment here, there's security here. Excuse me again. There's stability. Let's keep going. Queen of Wands, there's willfulness. Willfulness. That's often a not very useful quality, I think, willfulness. It's terrifically exciting when one is enacting it, but it often kind of washes us up on some shore that we don't recognize when it's kind of whooshed its way through, when it's whooshed its willful way through. But maybe, you know, this is affordable because there is wealth here. Perhaps this is a repeating cycle. Let's have a look. Wow, okay. Gosh. Royalty indeed. Wow. There's so much to say about the Queen of Swords. I want to get the full picture. Flipping it. I don't take reversals in this minor arcana section, by the way. 10 of Cups. Whoa. Is this what's at the end of this road that this dude is forever tramping? And the nature of this tramping, not necessarily the reasons for it, but the nature of it is well known. It's well articulated here. And it's very kind of claimed, as in claiming something, not claiming as in saying something that might or might not be true. I mean claiming as in like claim your prize, stake your claim, to have a claim over something. There's no, there's an almost sort of frenetic energy about this first column. I mean, to go from the beginning of the road to the end of the road, to the destination, to like the golden glowing gate, the happily ever after. This very powerful energy pushing that journey. This is what we see. Okay, this is what you see at the moment. This is how it is. And I think really the key card here is this Queen of Wands, because this is just like taking the action that you want when you want it. And there's a slightly unmeasured, I will keep going. And I mean, part of the reason I'm being equivocal about this and not going, fucking hell, this is brilliant, is because of this. So I'm going to dig down into this now, this world in reverse. It's cyclical. And I mean, what I was saying here about the Queen of Swords, about knowing very well and having very well articulated one's position here. Basically, if you have to keep saying it, you probably don't really mean it. You know, if you have, it's like people who tell other people when they meet them, or perhaps even on social media, that they are a very spiritual and compassionate person. I'll tell you, to me, when somebody says something like that to me when I first meet them, it's a massive red flag. It really is. You know, the truth of those things shows in actions, not in words. Fourth, God, I don't know why I went off down that. But yeah, so it's that kind of disconnect between what's said here and this is to do with blind spots leading to a cyclical repetition of something. And this wealth is fueling it. This is the energy, the transactional energy. But it's being, to a certain extent, splurged on willfulness. But this is the goal. But there's a lot of power and a lot of oomph being put into this journey, from nothing to everything, certainly on the emotional front. So let's have a deeper look into this. I think this is about circularity and like a short circuit, zzz, 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 like this round. Let's have a look. Seven of Pentacles. There's always something rather worthy for me and kind of admirable about the Seven of Pentacles, the patience and sort of basically waiting for the jackpot, waiting for the fruiting, waiting for the reward. I don't know. You know, and the attention that he's giving those pumpkin pentacles there. I mean, is it really changing anything? Like, why would you just stand there and look at this thing and sort of, you know, what is the quality of engagement here? It's like he's almost sort of willing them to come to ripeness. And there has been work put in, and I always sort of admire that. This is about really meaning it, and it's really important. And it's a sense of perceived sort of justice of getting what you want if you just stick at it. But, you know, sometimes this to me links in with this Queen of Wands here, because sometimes things don't. Sometimes it's best to let go. It can become compulsive. This is where I'm going with this. It's like he can't take his eyes off it. And it's the same compulsive energy as the Queen of Wands here. And sort of, in a sense, like not bugger the consequences so much, but just a repeated reiteration here in the Queen of Swords of the justice and the rectitude of this. And it's a narrative that just keeps going round. And I think it is this sense of being deserving of some kind of payoff here. And that sense of being deserving always carries with it an underside, an undercurrent, a kind of shadow side of resentment, or certainly the potential for resentment if the crop doesn't yield what you think it should. You know, those two things go together. I'm going to keep going. Right, 10 of Wands. This is really kind of draggy energy. And there's just this, there's a sort of purposelessness. If that is actually a word, isn't it? I think purposelessness here in the 10 of Wands for me today. It's just like slog, trudge, and kind of meaningless. Again, there's meaningless expenditure of energy and attention here, and it's dragging. Let's keep going. Oh dear. God, it's such a miserable reading. I'm so sorry. But I mean, in the context of, I mean, we'll have to see. I'm going to pull the cup card for this 8 of, yeah. Listen, what I was seeing here in the Page of Swords is this sort of vapid, perhaps intense, but ultimately shallow kind of communications going on here. And a sort of easy come, easy go sort of thing. And this is a very different energy from this kind of really like muddy, claggy sort of stuff going on here. And this accompanies it, you see? Because when it's cyclical, as we see here in the world in reverse, it makes it sort of meaningless if it's a sort of just a series of things like a conveyor belt of like possible prizes like we used to have on the Generation game in the 70s, and you'd see like the food processor going past and the deluxe camping set and whatever, you know, the coffee machine going past on the conveyor belt. It's just like when it's vapid like this, it's easy come, easy go. And there it is. You know, just like ho-hum, you know, pack up your troubles and like just, you know. And it's such a, this is a sort of cynicism almost. And a kind of devaluation of, I mean, look, this is where we think we're headed. But underneath it is just this kind of rather bleak aspect with this. I think in this column it hinges here on the, I mean, here I said it hinged on the Queen of Wands. Here it hinges on the Seven of Pentacles, because it's this sense of expectation of a return. And I guess that it's a bit like gambling. You know, the next coin in the slot, the next throw of the dice. And the nearest I've come to that in the last few years, certainly before I became a Buddhist, was spinning for mackerel and bass off the beach at high tide. Yeah, maybe this cast, you know. It's exciting. It's exciting, but it's ultimately, it's like just another cast. And, you know, when you, I mean, if you were to go spinning for mackerel or bass off the beach and you didn't catch anything and you came away from the beach in a bad mood, feeling resentful because you expected to catch anything, you didn't even bloody catch anything. I mean, my God, what a miserable way to live. But it's a blockage, you see. That sense of expectation of a return on your effort is a blockage. And it diminishes what the actual thing is. Because if you think you deserve it, then almost by definition, you don't. Because, you know, love just comes when it comes. You know, it's chemistry. It's the physics of karma. Right place, right time, etc. You know, it comes when it comes, and that's part of the magic of it. And that's part of the joy of this. You know, it's got to sort of turn up in good time, like the rainbow. You can't make this. Not to be like this. I mean, sure, you know, you can shine light through a prism and split the spectrum and everything, but that's not what we're looking at here. What we're looking at here is the happy ending. But the sense of deserving it spoils it and kind of reduces its value, if I may, from a 10 to an 8. Right, hanged man, I better bloody tackle this. Stop avoiding it. Let's have a look. Page of Pentacles. Okay, now remember, this is what the universe sees. This is what we see. This is what we don't see, but is nonetheless present, according to this reading. I'm just a somewhat foul-mouthed Buddhist reading tarot on YouTube. It's a small kind of offer. Let me keep going. Ace of Wands. God, that's wonderful. There's a scaling down here. There's a reconsideration and a scaling down. I mean, this Seven of Pentacles is more sort of symbolic of a mindset. But to move from the King to the Page, it's like going sort of back to school, maybe, in the matter of how we view like credit and debt and gain and loss. That's what the Pentacles are about. It's about how we trade and how we trade power with each other. There's a scaling back here of the interaction, or perhaps of the expectation. And this follows a reconsideration. And what this renders possible, and as I say, this is not predictive, I'm just reading the narrative as it comes up. What becomes possible then is an utterly fresh approach to how we actually enact our power in the material realm. And bloody good thing too, I say, because as I said straight away, I was not getting a particularly helpful energy off the Queen of Wands today. This sort of willfulness backed up by her cousin here, who's got it all explained and all straight and head. And this is the reason. This is the stated reason, but this is going on too, and it really does hinge on this Seven of Pentacles. This sense of somehow being diddled, being done, and being like cheated of something, as if something is being deliberately kept away from you, deliberately withheld. I almost said withheld there, withheld here. And that's just a killer. That's a killer for love. That is, because, you know, if that is the case, ask yourself, who's withholding it? The first answer that comes to your head is really, really good data. Anyway, I will keep going. I'm so pleased to see this Ace of Wands. The possibilities are endless with this like scaling back. And in a sense, perhaps a sort of passing down, passing, P-A-R-S-I-N-G, this passing down of kind of energetic expenditure here. I'm getting a bit like hermit energy off this today. Yeah, and it frees up space, basically. There's all the space in the world here with the Ace of Wands. Okay, well, there's going to have to be, this involves, and this comes back, the Nine of Swords here comes back to the Hanged Man. And this like reappraisal. And you know, there's a bit of pain involved in that. I'm just going to keep going. Because cycles get set up, compulsions get set up in us when there's something we find difficult to engage with in ourselves, in our lives. A way that we see something, or a way that we feel about something or someone, in order to protect the psyche, if you like, from that. Another bit of the psyche will set up I mean, it's one way of helping us not look at stuff that is nonetheless rumbling on here. So yeah, you know, when we do look at things in a fresh light, which is one interpretation of the Hanged Man, and it's the one I'm getting from this, you know, sometimes there are some aspects of it that are hard to look at. Cheerful stuff, eh? Rounding up with the Five of Cups. Yay. Oh dear. Oh man, it's so mournful, isn't it? Look at that. Well, it is, you know, these things that are perhaps some of which is painful to look at, has to be grieved. And you have, I mean, I'm getting off this state quite often. I really take the piss out of the on the Five of Cups, because it's so sort of self-indulgent. You know, he's got these two perfectly good cups behind him. And I mean, if I find the Two of Cups and show you what I mean, how wonderful it is. And they're still there. There it is. I mean, just look at that. It's absolutely lovely. This is like utter equality in being different, but equality nonetheless. Unity of opposites. And that's what creates the double helix and leads to new life. And that's that caduceus rising on that double helix out of that union. Absolutely beautiful. And it is, I'll put that back in the pack, it's still there. But all he's doing is looking down at the three spilled ones. And I mean, okay, I'll show you the Three of Cups. It's like happy days. Happy days. Where did it all go wrong? But the Two of Cups is still there. But what I'm saying in it today, dear viewer, dear listener, is like an appropriate acknowledgement of what is lost, what is broken beyond repair, and what can never be. Okay? That's what I'm seeing there. An appropriate period of like respect for these experiences here before turning, picking up these two cups and setting off over that bridge. Get my fingers in the right place. The camera's in reverse, you see. Over that bridge into a new, you know, and crossing that river. And that involves, again, engaging with emotion. But I mean, really, the Ace of Wands tells me here that the space exists to do this. It's the positivity of this Ace of Wands in this column, in context of this whole reading, is just on fire. It's absolutely wonderful. And I mean, this walking away in the Eight of Cups is very different from the walking away that I'm seeing coming next in the Five of Cups here. But, you know, sometimes things have to be have to be mourned. I've just noticed for the first time the colour of the liquids, the spilled liquids. Well, I don't know about the grey one at the bottom, but it's red wine. Party's over. Party's over. Imagine if I call this reading that. Love reading. The party's over. How many views do I get on that? Like about 2.5 and a thumbs down. I'm going to clarify these 3 columns. Yeah, I mean, you know, the main message I'm getting here from this reading is that a sense of deserving something that you perceive yourself to not currently possess is a fundamental and very subtle obstacle to your acquiring it. That's what I'm getting from this. Let's clarify these 3. It's all shuffled. I'm just yakking. Let's clarify these 3 columns. So we do it like that. So here we've got the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. I mean, when is a wheel upside down? Don't know. Yeah, no, this is abandonment. This is throwing caution to the wind. And that is that Queen of Wands. That's that Queen of Wands. And like another spin. What was I saying? It's like a compulsion. Another spin of the wheel. Like, fuck it. Yeah, go on, fuck it. Yeah, I've got 10 grand stuck away. Yeah, go on. There's a sort of, I don't know, like roller coaster energy I'm getting off this. No way. Look at that. It's the Hanged Man again. But in the reverse. I think, do you know, I get so confused when the Hanged Man comes up in reverse or when it comes up the right way up. For all I know, I could have done this whole reading and this was in reverse and this was the right way up. But no, this is in reverse. So there's a refusal here, or not a refusal necessarily, because that implies knowledge of what you're refusing. But there's a non-looking at here. And it is on some level deliberate. Okay. On some level. But, you know, this is the thing about having these like distracting energy kind of consuming cycles here, as opposed to this 9 of Swords, like looking at stuff. You know, you have to be blind to it. You have to look away from it in order for it to continue to operate, basically. And it looks to me like there is some movement here from a looking away to a looking at here. I guess this is what the universe sees as the possibilities for this situation. And of course, like I said, that I said it about the Ace of Wands, the possibilities are endless, absolutely endless. But I don't see yet, and this is how I'm going to look at this next card I'm going to pull, what it is that moves the energy. I mean, maybe it is this, just this 10 of Wands. And because I mean, I was saying about just the weariness, just sheer bloody fatigue. And I mean, this is a quiet move from the 8 of Cups to the Hanged Man. You know, the Hanged Man isn't a big sort of like action card. It really isn't. Anyway, let's have a look. What is it? Okay, it's strength. How interesting. Strength, the energy, if that doesn't sound too vague, of basically getting hold of yourself or getting hold of something and not continuing to have something kind of rampaging around the place. Okay. And getting to grips. It's like, if there's this like wild animal going about the place, like terrorizing the place, and you know, this is all like metaphorical obs. You know, there's a certain period during which people will just hide in their houses, but sooner or later it has to be dealt with. This is the sooner or later card. You know, because it gets to a point where people have to come out of their houses and all the people on the street have been eaten and he's just bloody woken up feeling a bit peckish. It can't go on. It cannot go on. This is also the card of taming the inner, or not taming the inner. Yeah, taming the inner rampant toddler. Right, this is real sacral chakra stuff. This is these impulses, these unnameable, seemingly uncontrollable impulses that come up inside us, and we throw the dice again because we've got plenty of resources and like, fuck it, we're just gonna do it. And yeah, we know what we're doing. And this is the aim. Yet we're stuck in a cycle because we believe we deserve to win the prize. We believe we deserve it. I mean, it's one thing wanting it, but when you think you deserve it, you're blocking it. I just wholesale blocking it. And it's just going round and round. And it's like this well-worn path. And yeah, what I was going to say about the Knight of Swords here. No, sorry, the Page of Swords. Yeah, I said it was sort of vapid. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just easy come. It's just like loose chat. It's loose chat. I mean, it's very pleasant often to engage in. There's nothing like necessarily offensive or bad about it, but it's just kind of, you know, a bit of froth, like a little aria. And, you know, pack up your troubles and on to the next, on to the next. I mean, what a come down from this. And a wish to not see it. But in seeing it, these struggles here, and this here for me, the Page of Pentacles, is like a reappraisal of resources in the context of this matter. And that reappraisal really does ignite a wealth of new possibilities. But in order to kind of capitalize on that, if you like that beast within, that thing that is a law unto itself, needs to be got to grips with. And as I said, sooner or later, you know, that's that infinity symbol. You know, this is kind of always helpful and perhaps always necessary, and something that has to be done like multiple times in our lives, possibly about the same things and possibly about different things. But the infinity symbol there says to me today, and I don't usually pay much mind to it, to tell you the truth, says to me today that this is like an ongoing thing in any case. But this spirit of getting to grips with something with real courage, because once you've got your hands in the lion's mouth like that, your next move needs to be bloody careful. I say there's real courage here as well, like real fortitude. And it's fortitude over ourselves. And that is both the kind of the approach and the fruit of engaging with this. If you can engage with this and kind of re-examine that sense of and that wasn't for theatrical purposes, because the next word is entitlement here in the Seven of Pentacles. Reappraise that, because that sense of entitlement cheapens it. Where is that coming from? And in looking at that, that's what that is about. Where is that coming from? There are enormous, unlimited bumper crops of wonderful possibilities along the way. Right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye-bye.